So The Overpass, my first film, and in many ways the film that I feel is most reflective of my style as a director. We shot it back in 2012 on a Canon 5D Mark II. At the time, it was like one of the newer cameras. And what we really wanted to do was to, tell a story that was small, but in many ways reflective of the type of stories that we wanted to tell. And when I say we, I mean me and my production partner at the time. And so we threw some ideas back and forth, and then we came up with this concept of like, what if you saw the superhero, but it was from like Gordon's perspective or the everyday person's perspective. And so, Watchmen was a little bit of an inspiration, but and this is right off of the coattails of The Dark Knight that came out in 2008. Another inspiration was the minimal quality of No Country for Old Men. And so when we sought to shoot it out, we wrote a story that was small, but that would be like the seed for a much larger story, in which this city is pretty much on the verge of collapse, of social collapse, and this vigilante that shows up, we don't know what he is or what he wants, and so in many ways it kind of reflects that on the ground point of view of the everyday citizen, and the main character is just that everyday person in the inner city that's trying to find a way to get ahead, especially with the situation with his mother. So after we wrote the story, I recruited my DP at the time, Eddie Bernard, he's phenomenal at documentary filmmaking and really being able to just get in there and shoot quickly and utilize the environment to its fullest. He implemented a lot of the mixed lighting and got us a lot of those great rack focuses that you see in the film. And this was my first film that I had directed, and so I had never taken the time to really, play with lighting. And so the first half of the film, I completely directed myself with just a very, very small crew of like a PA and I believe 2 other people. And we used a friend's apartment, and lighting was tricky for me. So there's a lot of mistakes in this film. You'll also see a lot of exposition that's just, it's a lot of on-the-nose dialogue. And the part where I think the film shines the most is in its second half, where we shoot under the overpass. We really utilize New York City and Yonkers in a really, in a way that I feel is representative of the grit and the that industrial quality that New York City can have. And I think that this film in many ways is the seed for a much larger story that I'm looking to revisit soon. And that's part of the reason why I decided to come back to it. So in this cut, I removed a lot of the unnecessary dialogue. I added some music and extra sound design in, and just improved the overall pace of the film. And hopefully it's something that you will enjoy. So join me as we go over this film and the process of making it. So this whole opening here, originally you would hear a very loud argument in the background because this whole first take was a much longer take. And the director's cut, I decided to actually sit here a little bit less, even though I filled this shot with a lot of visuals to kind of really give you an insight to the daily life here. You got a shot of the Alienist book in the foreground that foreshadows the vigilante later on, and some things in the background that kind of give you an idea of the situation that Bobby and his mom are going through. So the shirt here, this was the actress Olivia Lorane's idea. She wanted to make her character a bit spunky, and I thought it worked really well. I don't want you getting
jumped because you're wearing pink.
If Cameron could get away with it, I think I can too.
I was watching the news earlier, The state's going to have to
So
intervene within the next
this
30
whole
days to
section
appoint
of the
financial
film, there's
manager
just
to
tons of
clean up
exposition,
the mess
and
You
so
should really open things
what
up.
I decided to
I
do
can't help
was
it. Our home
try
was
to cut a
broken
lot
into
of this
last
out
week.
because it's
I
just
just
very
need some
on the nose
reassurance.
dialogue. That's something that later on that
Things are gonna be
I've
better
really
for
learned
you.
that I tend to put too much exposition
Why,
into
why do you talk like that? Like
my films.
Like it's already over.
Bobby,
Lighting wise, this whole scene was just a nightmare. It was a hot day, it was raining, and there was a window right by the side, and this is supposed to be happening at dusk. So
I may be
to
down.
get consistent
That's part of
lighting
being down is I can
was
only
very
go up.
difficult, and this was just me and
That's
two
what I'm
other
worried
people on the crew. So
Don't
I was
worry.
trying to light the whole thing myself.
I don't think God
and,
is too eager to see me just yet.
you know, very mixed
Man,
mixed
the
results.
trouble I've gotten myself into over the years.
What are you reading?
Just some Sartre. But it's been making me think about a dream I had last night.
So this whole dream here that
I was cooking for
Olivia
you in the
goes through,
kitchen, and you were in the
it's
living room.
mostly written.
And you called
It's
to me.
true to how
So I
it's
came
written,
in to see what was
but
going on.
she improvised a
You were
lot
much
of this
younger than when we
by a
adopted
dream that she
you.
had the previous
Maybe
night.
3. And you were standing
So
there
this is a
pointing
nice little mix of improvisation
at
and
the
the
old
script.
armoire, my grandparents' armoire, where you used to put your toys away.
Yeah.
I couldn't see what you were pointing
So
at.
the symbolism of the
saw
bird may seem
a bird.
obvious
It was
in
black,
regards to
and in the dim light,
the
it was
vigilante and the
fading
bird
into the
mask
cherry
that he
wood.
has, but there's also this
It
idea
had its little
that
white head
death is
tucked under
coming,
its wing,
and that
like
in some
it was
sort of
trying
way
to keep warm. And it
there
was
is
staring at me.
a plague coming to
And you
this
kept
this
pointing
city.
at it, and it was staring at me, like it knew.
One of the additions to
Like it knew I
the director's cut is
couldn't make it go
adding
away.
sound and music. Well, there was
I
really
called
great
to you,
sound
but
design
instead of
that was
coming to
originally
me,
in the
walked
film,
towards it. You were
but
gonna try to touch it or
um,
something, and you were saying,
you know, it was
"You can't
enhanced by
stay here, Mr.
my
Bird." So
my
I
sound
stepped in
technician,
between
my SFX, the
both of you
mad
and
sound assist himself, Mike Dagan,
asked you to go
who I
get me
always
a
work
broom
with.
in the closet.
And you can, in the background, you can
You
hear
went into
like
the
the
kitchen.
heat. It's like a tension that's created by
And
the
it
heat,
spread its wings.
the sound of a
And I thought,
radiator.
oh, it's flying out the window finally. But it just kept spreading
In
its
the
wings.
director's cut, something that I did
And
add
it got
to
bigger,
the
and the room got
film
darker,
is
and it was filled with
this
And then the
dreary
floor got
drone
soft,
that
like
gives a sense of
quicksand.
anxiety and a
And
sense
I
of
couldn't move, and I felt like I
foreboding.
was sinking. And then I woke up.
What do you think it meant?
Nothing. But
More
it got me
exposition.
thinking. You need to take better care of yourself, Bobby. I know you quit college. to
Also,
come help me,
the main actor, Colin,
but I think it's
his
time to go back.
his acting is a bit stiff
When
here.
you
This
get
was
back.
one of his first performances, and so it's really interesting if you look at this film and then compare his acting in my second short, Splitting the D, just a completely different thing. So you know, if you're ever directing actors and they're
Hello.
so self-conscious in these scenes, it's really important to try to get them out of their head and get them talking to the other person,
Alright.
like actually talking.
What's wrong?
Nothing. Somebody got sick, so they called into work. I gotta head in.
Is everything all right?
Yeah, everything's alright. You should get some rest.
All right. Well, thanks for the tea.
Anytime.
As you can see the difference in lighting in this shot, even the composition. I really think I needed to try to get more angles, but you know we ran out of
Son?
time
Yeah.
because just
I'm
you know
proud of you.
first director problems. Love this shot. It's one of my favorite shots in the film. And this is where the film transitions. This shot was originally not in the film, and it's something that I added to the director's cut because I feel like it really gives a sense of a transition from day to night, and also adding in the soundtrack. It gives a sense of a transition from one world to another. There's a longer scene here where you can hear the train in the background and a nice graffitied wall. I decided to cut that. I felt that the bridge made up for that cut. So this is an overpass that's in Yonkers.
That's one of my pals, Christopher Cardos, brilliant actor, and he's incredible with both music and sound. And so, you'll see him in almost every one of the films that I do. Make some sort of cameo.
I thought you were gonna be alone.
So this shot is one of my
Would've been
favorites
only me if you
as
brought
well
me my
because
money
there's
last
some
week.
interesting stuff going on. So you have this mixed lighting that was set
So-
up by the DP. He insisted on it, and thank God he did. Again, at the time, I wasn't aware. And you see how, like, when Bobby walks over, there's this walking into the darkness that occurs that's really, really cool. And then literally right behind Otto is the graffiti that says crime.
That's all I could gather up for this week. I'll have the rest. I'll have the rest by the end of the week.
Bobby, your job is simple, is it not? You don't even have to get your hands dirty with dealing. You take the money, go to the bank, change it, and bring it back to me. Tell me, how do you fuck that up?
Otto, you know how the neighborhood is. I had the money stashed. There was a robbery in my house. They must have known. They must have known where it was.
Now
They
the
must have
train in the
forgotten where I had
background,
money.
you know, so this whole area, you can see the train in the background. This whole area is right beside the train station that you're on. This scene is also really funny because the other actor there who has the bat, he kept dropping the bat and strangling Colin. You know, he wasn't a trained actor, but he was giving it his all. Let's just say. Now, in this shot, you can actually see
Still
the
in front of you,
vigilante far in the background watching.
Huh?
And, you know, again, first director mistakes. I kept pushing. You know, this scene, I had more help. I had first director, and I also had a professional DP who, you know, his name's Eddie Bernard. Really, really great at guerrilla
Told you not to
filmmaking.
get
And I
involved.
think, you know, I kept pushing him, but I'm
Just
really
because we
happy
grew
that I
up in the
forced
same
him
neighborhood doesn't mean I can let you
push
ruin
the
my
camera to its
business.
limit. It's funny, we
I
shot
have people
all of
breathing
this
down
on
my
a
neck too,
Canon
you know.
5D Mark II, and so, you know, it's not really the best nighttime camera. I really love that shot of the vigilante
Good.
coming back, and then, you know, when he disappears, it really sets up this next shot over here. Again, another really great use of the blue lighting. I love how Mark just falls like a ton of bricks over here.
Remember when I told you buzz me? Well, that's what I gotta say.
So again, you know, we utilized what we had. All of these lights were basically on location, and we just blocked everything in such a way where, you know, maximize the shadows, the contrast, and overall I think it gives this film a really gritty feel.
You just fucked everything up for me.
Now, making the bracelet obvious was very difficult. We had to shoot this from a lot of different angles. Now that's me playing the role of the vigilante, and it was decided in post to actually skew my voice so that it makes the whole thing feel much more dreamlike. And since Bobby's taking a few to the face, to the head, I don't know if you noticed the graffiti blurring in and out. I thought that was a really nice effect that happened. But yeah, since Bobby's taken a few to the face, to the head, makes you really wonder like how much of this actually happened. You know, the symbolism of the bracelet, a lot of people ask me about, but, you know, the idea of disease and the idea of the plague doctor and then a sick city, all of these are themes that I want to explore a bit more, especially coming from, an urban background myself. So this shot here is the shot that book that's on the table in the first shot foreshadows. It's a dark figure in a trench coat walking down the city street at night. And I think the whole shot itself, it was a happy accident that the train ended up coming, because I think it foreshadows a sense of foreboding, but also a sense of inevitability that at the end of the day, no matter what Bobby tries to do, he can't change what's coming, and nor can the city, and everything that's about to come with the appearance of the vigilante. And also the nature of the vigilante as this person that both rescues Bobby but also takes his money. It makes you question what his nature is, and ultimately what it is that this the crime and the corruption that is talked about in the beginning, that's sort of festering in this city is about to create. And so this is a theme and a story that I'm definitely planning to explore more. I have a whole 2 seasons planned out as a TV show, so this is something we're going to eventually pitch to HBO, and we're hoping to expand. But in the meantime, stay tuned, and if you have any thoughts, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment and let us know if you want to see more.